Students, in this video, I am going to discuss the last topic of this subject, which is applications of Taylor's theorem. Here we will discuss three types of applications, one in convex functions, another one is in maxima minima, and in indeterminate forms. So today we will discuss first application and some partial application of maxima and minima. So what is convex function? First definition is, so suppose let capital I, which is subset of R, be an interval, and let x1 x2 be two arbitrary points in I. Then a function f from I to R is said to be convex function on interval I if for any point t, for any parameter t, this is the parameter actually, satisfying this property, t varies from 0 to 1, we have f of, here is the point is basically what, 1 minus t of x1 plus t of x2. This is the linear combination actually of 2 points, x1 and x2, these 2 points. Okay, so this is the linear combination. The value of the function at this linear, every point of this linear combination is less than equals to 1 minus t, this image of the function at this point, plus this t, an image of the function at x2. Graphically, what is the meaning of this? So here function is basically this blue function. This is our function f of x. Okay, so this is our f of x. This is f of x. This function is f of x, this bowl shaped function. Okay, here we have taken two arbitrary points in I. So suppose one point is x1 here, another point is x2 here. Now we have taken the linear combination of this where t varies from 0 to 1. So in between these two, just join these 2 points through a line, so we get this line. This is the linear combination. लीनियर कॉम्बिनेशन का मतलब एक लाइन इन दोनों पॉइंट्स को जोड़ते हुए जो लाइन बनेगी, दैट इज एक्चुअली द लीनियर कॉम्बिनेशन. नाउ इन दिस लाइन वी हैव नंबर ऑफ पॉइंट्स, इनफाइनाइटली मैनी पॉइंट्स इस लाइन पर होंगे यहां से यहां तक. उन्हीं में से कोई एक पॉइंट हमने सेलेक्ट किया, दिस पॉइंट, एंड कॉरस्पॉन्डिंग टू टी दिस वी हैव अ पैरामीट्रिक वैल्यू टी. ओके, and this point is denoted by 1 minus t x1 plus t of x2. For an example, suppose t is half, so what will be the value? x1 by 2 plus x2 by 2, that means the midpoint. Okay, suppose t is 0, सबसे कम वैल्यू है t की 0. when you put it here t 0, then this will be 0, so we get only x1, that means left hand point. When t is right, this 1, maximum value of t is 1, when you put it here, then 1 minus t will be 0, so only x2 will be there, that means last point. So that's why we can say that when t varies from 0 to 1, then you will cover up the line x1 to x2. Okay, now on this line we have selected this point, a random point. Now evaluated its image under f. So the image of f will be this PA, this PA. So we can say that the left hand side is actually AP, this AP. Okay, this is basically AP. Now what about the right hand side? Right hand side is what? Same concept. This is the linear combination of f of x1 and f of x2. What is f of x1? F of x1 is this point, this height, that means this. What is f of x2? This height. Again join this through a line, and this line represented by this right hand side, 1 minus t f of x1 plus t of x2. When you put t is equal to 0, least value, so we will get f of x1, that means this point. When you put t is equal to 1 here, so we get this is 0, and this gives you f of x2, that means right hand point. So you will cover up all the points laying on this line. And this is basically 1 minus t f of x1 plus t of x2. This is the image of this under this. Okay, so this is basically this AC. Right hand side is AC. However, left hand side is AP. So AP is less than equal to AC according to this graph, and hence whenever any function, given function, satisfies this property, then the function is known as convex function. And generally the shape of convex function is a bowl shape, okay. So this is the meaning of this inequality. I hope you understand. Now we have a theorem, the condition of convex function. What is the condition? How to check whether the given function is convex or not? One way is to check this. Another way is this definition. Let I be an open interval and let f from I to R have a second derivative. This function has a second derivative on interval I. Then f is convex on I if and only if its second derivative is greater than or equal to 0 for all x belongs to I. That means function is convex if its second derivative is greater than or equal to 0 for all the values on the interval of its domain. Okay, this is the meaning. So we have to prove this. So first is the necessary part. So suppose function is convex. So suppose that f is convex on I and a is any point in I. A is any arbitrary point here. Okay. Let h be such that a plus h and a minus h belong to I. So what we have assumed? Here we have assumed that this is the function, this is the domain, this is the function. Here we have randomly selected point A such that a minus h and a plus h both will be, this is I from here to here, this is I, this is I. Okay, so let h be such that a plus h and a minus h belong to I. So you can see that this point belong to I, a plus h also belong to I. Okay, then a is what? A is the midpoint of these two. So a minus h plus a plus h by 2. So this is the midpoint of this. Okay, now since f is convex on I, if f is convex on I, then what will be the condition? F of a is equal to f of what is a? A is according to this is 1 by 2 a plus h plus a minus h. But function is convex, so obviously satisfies this property. Hence we can say that this is basically what? 1 by 2 is 1 minus t. Okay, so this can be rewritten as here f of 1 by 2 a plus h plus 1 by 2 a minus h. We can write this as this. So in place of 1 minus t we have half, in place of t we have half, and now you can see that t varies in between 0 and half. Okay, so now as f is convex, so satisfies this property, so less than or equal to 1 minus t, that means this 1 by 2 f of a plus h plus t, so 1 by 2 this t, and f x2 is this point, so f of a minus h. Okay, according to this property. So we have written this, and here sign is less than or equal to. So if you multiply this inequality by 2, so what we will get? Here is f of a. Okay, because this is f of a is equals to this, and this is less than or equal to this. Fine. So now when you multiply by 2, so you get 2 of f of a is less than or equals to f of a plus h plus f of a minus h. Now take this 2fa in the right hand side. So what we will get? So we will get this f of a plus h minus 2 of f of a plus f of a minus h is greater than or equal to 0. This is equation number 1. Now since first derivative and second derivative exists at x equal to a, why? Because what is given to you? f have a second derivative. तो सेकंड डेरिवेटिव का मतलब उसका फर्स्ट डेरिवेटिव भी आया होगा 100%. ओके, सो फर्स्ट डेरिवेटिव and second derivative exist at x equal to a. Then by the definition of derivative, दे ऑल्सो एग्जिस्ट इन द नेबरहुड, इसके नेबरहुड में भी 100% आया होगा बाय द डेफिनेशन ऑफ द डेरिवेटिव, तो इसके नेबरहुड में भी आया होगा, सो a माइनस एच a प्लस एच में भी फंक्शन डिफरेंशिएबल रहा होगा. देन वी कैन अप्लाई टेलर्स थ्योरम फॉर द इंटरवल a minus h to a in this interval and a to a plus h. Okay, now expand the function in this interval. So what is the expansion? F of a minus h according to the Taylor's theorem, f of a plus minus h f dash a plus minus h is whole square by factorial 2 second derivative at the point a minus theta 1 h, where theta 1 is in between 0 and 1. So this is the remainder term. Okay, I hope you understand. So this is the Taylor's theorem. This is number 2. So we have expanded f of a minus h, f of a minus h. Now expand this a plus h in this interval. So f of a plus h will be f of a plus h f dash a plus h square by factorial 2 second derivative at a plus theta 2h. Here the parameter is theta 2 in between 0 and 1. This is equation number 3rd. Now substitute these values in equation number 1. So f of a minus h plus f of a minus h. First add these two. So what we will get? Twice of f of a. They will be cancelled out. They will be added. So h square by 2 second derivative at a minus theta 1h plus second derivative at a plus theta 2h. Okay. Now take this quantity in the left hand side and then divide by h square. So f of a minus h minus twice of f of a plus this quantity divide by h square. So what we will get? This quantity divided by 2. So f second derivative a minus theta 1h plus f double dash a plus theta 2h by 2. Now taking the limit h tending to 0 left hand side is equal to limit h tending to 0 right hand side. Okay. Now right hand side will be what? Right hand side will be here. This quantity will be 0. This quantity will be 0 at when h tending to 0. So we get second derivative at a, second derivative at a. So twice second derivative at a divided by 2. So 2 is cancelled out with 2. So ultimately we get f double dash a. This is equation number 4. Okay. Now since h square is positive number, whether h is negative or positive, but h square is always greater than 0 and h is obviously a distance for this neighborhood. So obviously this will be a non-zero quantity. Hence h square will be positive. Okay. So this h square will be positive. Then from equation number 1, if you will see 1, this quantity is greater than equal to 0. That means this quantity is greater than equal to 0. H square is also greater than 0, strictly greater than 0. Hence the ratio will be greater than equal to 0 and hence f double dash is greater than equal to 0. So this is the one part. Okay. So one part is over. F double dash a is greater than equal to 0 for all a belongs to I. So one part is over. Now the converse part. Let f double dash a is greater than equal to 0 for all a belongs to I. Now we have to prove that function is convex. So to show the convex function is convex, we have to prove this. So take two random points on the domain, then establish this inequality. If so, then we can say that function is convex. Okay. So here let's say 2 points, arbitrary points x1 and x2 be any 2 points on I, and let t be any parameter in between 0 and 1. Okay. And x0 be any point which is nothing but the linear combination of these two, 1 minus t of x1 plus t of x2. Now apply Taylor's theorem to f at point x0. We obtain a point c1 between x0 and x1, because here we have used the parametric form, but if you don't want to use this, you can use c1 here, c2 here. They are equivalent to each other and we have already discussed this in Taylor's theorem. Okay. तो अगर आप इसको नहीं लिखना चाहते थीटा 1 की फॉर्म में, तो आप इसको c1 लिख सकते हो, c2 लिख सकते हो. Similarly here apply Taylor's theorem to f at x0. We obtain a point c1 between x0 and x1 such that here f of x1 in terms of this is expanded in terms of this, because what is our interest is x1. So x1 can be written as f of x1 can be written as f of x1 x0 plus x1 minus x0. We can write down this as this. This is nothing but just like h. So x0 plus h. So apply Taylor's theorem. So we get what? F of x0 plus h, that means x1 minus x0, f dash at x0 plus this whole square x minus x0 whole square by factorial to second derivative at point, any point in between these two, x0 and x1. That point is denoted by, say, x0 plus, for example, theta 1 x2. x0 plus x1, sorry, this function is f double dash x0 plus theta 1 x1 minus x0. Okay, this. So rather than writing this, we are denoted this by c1. Okay, so rather than writing this, we are writing this as c1. So this is the meaning, f of c1. c1 is what? x0 plus theta 1, this, and theta 1 varies from 0 to 1. And a point c2 between x2. Similarly here, in place of x1, if we are writing x2 here, so this is f of x0 plus x2 minus x0, f dash x0 plus half x2 minus x0 whole square, second derivative at point c2, where c2 is what? c2 is basically x0 plus some theta 2 x2 minus x0, where theta 2 is in between 0 and 1. Okay, so this is c2. Now since second derivative is non-negative on I, this is as per our assumption. This is our assumption, second derivative. Okay, so this is greater than equal to 0. So this implies second derivative is non-negative on I. Then the term r is what? 1 upon 2 1 minus t second derivative at c1 x1 minus x2 whole square plus half t minus t into x2 minus x0 whole square second derivative c2. This is greater than equal to 0 because this term is 1 minus t is positive term, because t is what? If you will see, t is in between 0 and 1. Okay, so this term is positive. This term is positive. Here second derivative is positive as per our assumption. This and this quantity is also positive, x1 minus x2 whole square. So this quantity is also positive. So ultimately this quantity is positive. Similarly here this quantity is positive, so their sum will be positive. Hence r is greater than equal to 0. This is equation number 7. Fine. Thus from 5th and 6th, from these two, 1 minus t, that means multiply this quantity by 1 minus t, then f of x1 plus multiply this quantity f of x2 by 2 t of f. So this is equal to, after simplification 1 minus t से यहाँ multiply किया, t से यहाँ multiply किया and then added. So what we will get? We will get f of x0 plus f dash x0 1 minus t here, this 1 minus t x1 minus x0 plus t of x2 minus x0, and we have taken this as a common factor f dash x0 plus. Similarly here 1 upon 2 1 minus t x1 minus x0 whole square second derivative at c1 plus half of t and this quantity x0 x2 minus x0 whole square f double dash c2. What is this? This is f of x0, and from here this f dash x0 plus 1 minus t, this quantity is written here. However, this last factor is actually r. So this is r. Okay, so this quantity, then r, and then this factor. So this is listed here. Now f of x0, in f of x0 we have added some amount of r which is greater than equal to 0, and hence whatever be the value of this, whatever be the value of this, because x1 minus x0, this is positive quantity, this is positive quantity, t is this 1 minus t is positive, t is positive, and derivatives are non-negative, so this is positive. So ultimately we can say that this is a positive quantity, hence this quantity is obviously greater than equal to f of x naught. यानी f of x naught में कुछ positive quantity add की गई है, तो ये quantity बड़ी होगी f of x naught से, and hence f of what is x naught? 1 minus t of x1 plus t of x2. So we can have the required inequality, f of 1 minus t x1 plus t of x2, this is less than equal to 1 minus t f of x1 plus t of f of x2, and hence f must be convex function. So this is the proof of this theorem. Okay, so I think you have understood this theorem. Now in maxima or minima, this is the second application. So first part is over, now the second, maxima and minima. Okay, so in maxima or minima, first, what is the maxima or minima? So if C be any interior point of the domain AB of a function f, then first part is for maxima. F of C is said to be a maximum value of the function f if there exists some delta greater than 0 such that f of c is positive, f of c is greater than f of x for all x in the interval or in the domain c minus delta to c plus delta, where x is not equals to c. What is the meaning of this? Graphically, this is the function, here is the point c, then we have taken this domain c minus delta through c plus delta, and if you will find out the value of f of c, then this height is basically the f of c, this height, and you will see that in this domain, if you take any point here, either x is here or here, at any point, then this height is greater than in this domain. If you will put this as your f of x, this height is basically f of x. So in this interval, f of c is the highest point, f of c पर सबसे ज़्यादा हाइट है, यहाँ कम है, यहाँ कम है, आप देख सकते हो. इन कंपैरिजन टू f of c, this height is less than, this height is less than. Similarly here in the left hand side, this height is less than f of c, and hence we can say that f of c is greater than f of x for all values of x from here to here. कोई भी आप ले लीजिए इस इंटरवल में सबके लिए, and hence this point is the maximum point and this value is the maximum value. Similarly for the minimum. For the minimum, now the curve is of this form. This is the point. So you can see that in this interval from here to here, if you take any x here or here, then this height is basically what? This height is greater than f of c. f of c सबसे छोटी height होगी इस पूरे interval में, यहाँ से यहाँ तक. f of c is less than the height obtained at any point x from c minus delta to c plus delta, and hence this inequality satisfied. F of c is less than f of x for all x in the interval c minus delta to c plus delta, and then this point is called the minimum point, and the value, this height is basically the minimum value, this minimum value of the function. Okay, now third is f of c is said to be an extreme value if either a maximum value or a minimum value. That means this will cover up 1 and 2 both. Extreme means maxima or minima dono. Okay, so this is the extreme. Now we have a theorem. What is the theorem? Necessary condition for the existence of extreme values. So theorem says that this is the necessary condition जो हम यूज करते हैं मैक्सिमा मिनिमा. क्या करते हैं हम? We just differentiate and put it 0. This is the necessary condition. ये हम यूज करते हैं. तो कैसे ये कंडीशन आई? This is the theorem. So if f of c be an extreme value of a function f, extreme means maxima or minima both, either maxima or minima. So if f of c be an extreme value, either maxima or minima of a function f, then f dash c will be 0, provided f dash c exists. This is the condition. We have to prove this. Okay, so now since f of c is an extreme value of f of x, so we can say that f of x is either maxima or minima value at x equal to c. Okay, So this is already given to you, provided f dash c exists. So since f dash c exists, so that's why the left hand side derivative at point c is equal to right hand side derivative of the function at point c is equals to f of c. This is the by the definition of differentiability. लेफ्ट हैंड साइड लिमिट भी और राइट हैंड साइड लिमिट ऑफ डेरिवेटिव दोनों इक्वल होंगी और इसकी जो वैल्यू होगी वो एफ डैश सी के बराबर होगी. दिस इज इक्वेशन नंबर 1. ओके, अब हमें क्या प्रूफ करना है कि ये वैल्यू जीरो के बराबर आएगी, एफ डैश सी इज जीरो, ये हमें प्रूफ करना है. सो लेट एफ ऑफ एक्स हैव अ मैक्सिमा. इन दोनों ऑप्शन में से मैक्सिमा और मिनिमा से सपोज मैक्सिमा. सो लेट एफ ऑफ एक्स हैव अ मैक्सिमा, maximum value at x equal to c. Then by the definition of maximum there exists a delta greater than 0 such that f of c is greater than f of x for all x belongs to c minus delta to c plus delta, and here x is not equal to c. So we have utilized this definition. We have utilized this definition for the maxima. Okay, so here this is the definition. So this implies x, since x is in this interval, so obviously x is in between c minus delta to c and x is in between either c to c plus delta. तो क्योंकि इस इंटरवल में है और x is not equal to c है, इसका मतलब x या तो c माइनस डेल्टा से c के बीच में है या c से c प्लस डेल्टा के बीच में है. सो आइदर x इज इन बिटवीन c माइनस डेल्टा टू c और x इज इन बिटवीन c टू c प्लस डेल्टा. फाइन, बिकॉज x इज नॉट इक्वल टू c. So that's why here we have not equality because x is not equal to c. Fine. Now by the definition of this, f of x is less than f of c in this interval because this is valid in this entire interval. तो इस आधे interval में भी होगा. Similarly in this interval f of x is also less than f of c. Equation number 3. So now from 2 means this part. So f of x minus f of c is less than 0. That means from this and from here x minus c is less than 0. So this is negative, this is negative. When you divide this quantity, by this quantity, so f of x minus f of c, x minus, this is negative, this is negative, so the ratio will be positive. Okay, when x varies from this to this. This is question number 4. Similarly, and taking x tending to c in fourth, we get left hand side derivative at c is greater than equal to 0. तो ये left hand side derivative आपको मिलता है. This is 5. Similarly, again in by third, f of x minus f of c is less than 0. Here, from third, if you will see third, f of x minus f of c is still less than. However, here x is greater than c, so x minus c is greater than 0. x minus c a positive आएगा. Okay, so that's why here x minus c is positive and f of x minus f of c is still negative. Now take the ratio. Now the ratio will be here is negative, here is positive, so that's why negative. So f of x minus f of c, this is negative when x is in between c to c plus delta, and this is nothing but the right hand side. So that's why when x is tending to c, this will provide you the right hand side derivative. R f dash c is less than equal to 0. Okay, so here the left hand side derivative is greater than equal to 0. Here the right hand side derivative at c is less than equal to 0. And according to our equation number 1, left hand side should be same as right hand side should be same as f dash c. So in view of 1, 5 and 6, we get f dash c is equal to 0. This is only possible when f dash c is 0. Similarly, we can show that f dash c is 0 if f has minimum. So this is the theorem. Okay, so this is the theorem. Now we have a note point. Note. So first note, the converse of the above theorem is not true. That's why this is only the necessary condition. Okay, that means if f dash c is 0, then f may have neither maxima nor a minima. For example, in this case, here at this point, this is neither maxima nor minima because maximum means this part and minima means this part. So at this point, neither maxima nor minima. Maxima कहीं यहाँ हो सकता है, minima कहीं यहाँ हो सकता है. इस point पे मैक्सिमा यहाँ हो सकता है कहीं पॉइंट पे, यहाँ पे तो ना तो मैक्सिमा है ना मिनिमा है. दिस इज कॉल्ड एज द पॉइंट ऑफ इन्फ्लेक्शन. दिस इज कॉल्ड एज द पॉइंट ऑफ इन्फ्लेक्शन. ओके, so here in this example f of x is x cube for all x belongs to r, f dash x will be 3x square for all x belongs to r, and hence f dash 0 will be 0. Put x equal to 0 here, so 0. But f has neither a maxima nor a minima at x equal to 0. According to this graph you can see यहाँ पर ना तो मैक्सिमा है ना मिनिमा है. मैक्सिमा तो कहीं यहाँ कहीं होगा मैक्सिमम वैल्यू, मिनिमम कहीं यहाँ कहीं होगा क्योंकि कार कर्व निगेटिव जा रहा है इधर. ठीक, अगेन second, a function may have a maximum or a minimum value at a point without being derivable at that point. कोई जरूरी नहीं कि मैक्सिमा मिनिमा के लिए डेरिवेटिव होना जरूरी है. इसका एक एग्जांपल ये रहा. फंक्शन इज f of x is magnitude of x. f is not derivable at x equal to 0, but f has a minimum value at 0. आप देख सकते हो यहाँ पर सबसे छोटी वैल्यू है मिनिमम 0. तो फंक्शन तो डेरिवेटिव नहीं है या डेरिवेबल नहीं है, बट स्टिल मिनिमा हैज. ओके, सो दिस इज द मीनिंग. नाउ वी हैव टू डेफिनेशंस. वन इज स्टेशनरी पॉइंट एंड अनदर वन इज क्रिटिकल पॉइंट. व्हाट इज द स्टेशनरी पॉइंट? इफ f dash c is 0, then x is called a stationary point of f. Okay, and fc is called a stationary value of f. ठीक, तो अगर f dash c 0 है तो हम जो c पॉइंट है उसको हम क्या कहेंगे? स्टेशनरी पॉइंट. और फिर हम उसको एग्जामिन करेंगे कि वो मैक्सिमा है कि मिनिमा है. वी डोंट नो द नेचर. उसके लिए हम उसका सेकंड डेरिवेटिव निकालते हैं, आपको याद होगा. फाइन. क्रिटिकल पॉइंट, अ पॉइंट x इक्वल टू c सच दैट आइदर f dash c डज नॉट एग्जिस्ट और f dash c 0 इज कॉल्ड अ क्रिटिकल पॉइंट ऑफ f. यानी या तो पॉइंट फर्स्ट डेरिवेटिव एग्जिस्ट ही ना करे या वो 0 हो, तो ऐसे पॉइंट को कहेंगे क्रिटिकल पॉइंट. इसका मतलब या तो वो स्टेशनरी पॉइंट होगा अगर f dash c 0, दैट मीन्स दिस मीन्स स्टेशनरी पॉइंट होगा, या उसका डेरिवेटिव एग्जिस्ट ना करे. दोनों केस में को इंक्लूड करते हुए हम जो पॉइंट कहेंगे वो कहेंगे क्रिटिकल पॉइंट. ओके, सो और जो वैल्यू है f of c, दिस इज कॉल्ड द क्रिटिकल वैल्यू ऑफ f. ठीक, तो क्रिटिकल पॉइंट जो है वो क्या है? या तो वो स्टेशनरी पॉइंट है या वहां पर डेरिवेटिव एग्जिस्ट नहीं करता. ऐसे पॉइंट को कहेंगे क्रिटिकल पॉइंट, और जो वैल्यू है f of c वो कहेगी क्रिटिकल वैल्यू. ठीक, बाकी की जो सफिशिएंट कंडीशन है फॉर एक्सट्रीमा ये हम नेक्स्ट वीडियो में डिस्कस करेंगे. थैंक यू.